Guys and gals, welcome back to Bob's Barn Workshop. We are progressing on our installation and build of the 347 stroker into that Mustang convertible 1967. I have a couple things I wanted to do today. I need to measure the push rods on this vehicle to make sure, on this engine, to make sure that they are the correct length. So I bought a push rod, an adjustable push rod, and the standard ones I believe are 6 1/4 inches. And from what I've seen, most of the guys who have the 6 1/4s in there have actually had to make them up, buy new ones at 6.35, another 100 thousandths inch in length. So I'm going to show you how to measure these in just a little bit, but I'm also want to drag the Mustang out and power wash out the engine bay, degrease it, and respray paint it with some nice satin black to get it so it looks all nice and shiny new for this brand new shiny engine that's going in it. So in a few minutes I'll come back. Of course it'll be seconds for you, and we'll get it done. So push rod length measurement. First I need to remove these two rockers, and they are locked in place with these locking studs. That's actually a 3/16 and a 5/8 nut, so I'm going to hold that. They had been torqued before. Wrong wrench, 5/8. So I'm going to untorque them. Okay. Now if I remember right, I labeled these 7-2 and 1, yes, 1-1 and 1-2, so I know where they're supposed to go when I'm done with them. I'm just going to set them aside. I thought I had my push rod length tool right here. I don't see it, of course. Okay, so I want to keep these push rods in the right orientation also. Now, according to Hoyle, these aren't anywhere near the same length. So I've got to measure these, and I might have the wrong tool. Well, it's a good 3/4 of an inch shorter, and I don't have a caliper, so I've got to go buy a 12-inch caliper. That's all there is to it. Alright, well that puts that on the kibosh. Okay, I'm going to proceed with testing. I won't be able to measure, but I'll be able to determine if my existing rods are the right length, and if I need to replace them with longer push rods. That would be my worry. So I'm just going to spray some carb cleaner on a rag here and clean the oil off the top of the valve, and I'm going to get that on my car. I'm going to clean the roller on my roller tip rocker here to make sure there's no oil on that. It's a really simple procedure. And then I'm going to color the top of the valve stem. Black Sharpie. It's a Milwaukee, but it's the same crap. Give that a few seconds to dry. And then I'm going to adjust the valve. We should be at TDC. Okay, so I'm going to set the valve back on here, or the rocker. And I'm going to tighten it down a half turn. And now I'm going to turn the engine over. So now I'm going to crank the engine over a couple revolutions. She's tight. She should be close to TDC again. All right. Simple. And that didn't make a very good mark. But it looks like it only came halfway onto the valve. We're going to have to test that again. I am going to we will let that dry again. Try it again. Now I'm on the compression stroke, hot dead center. Yes. So these valves are both closed. And that's what we want. This valve, this lifter should be loose. And this one should be the same height, which it is. If it was open, then you could see that valve, that rod sticking up farther. Alright. Clean this roller off again. Carefully set it down on. Now you spin the rod which you can tell this touches down. I got friction, so I'm just going to give it a half turn. Okay, rock and roll again. See if I can get a good mark. There goes the exhaust. Sorry, I gotta get in front of you here. This sucker's tight. Everything was brand new. I'm gonna crank it around so that the valve actuates twice. Come on up on top, dead center again. Alright. Let's see if we made a discernible mark. Boy, it's just touching the edge. It's weird. I don't like that. But yeah, see, it's only coming down to the center. Now that should be moved down just slightly. And I'm going to do the same thing right now to the exhaust valve. Yeah, get that all in the crap and dirt. I will re-oil these after I clean them again. Brake clean. brake clean on the roller. Alright. Now this is how I do a valve adjustment on this engine. Is you just put each cylinder as you go down the line at top dead center, so your valves are relaxed. You put your rocker on. You hand tighten the stud nut, spinning the push rod till you feel it stop, and you just give her half a crank. Oh, I gotta loosen my nut. I went about a quarter turn, so. Why is it stopping? Great. Always something, guys. Why is it stopping? Did I ruin my mark? Touch, loose, tight, half a turn. That hydraulic lifter must be full of Earl. Alright, we're going to crank her around again 2 times. There's a locker. Back to TDC. Yeah, it's only coming about halfway out of the valve. I think the valve push rod needs to be slightly longer. So they say for every turn of this you get 50 thousandths out. So I'm going to compare these lengths again as much as I can by eyeball. I got them a little long right now. Okay. So I'm going to back it out. One full turn. I had to physically modify my measuring tool by taking the nut. I could have left the nut on here, but there was a flange on here that wouldn't fit through the guide plate, so I took it out to my grinder and I ground a spot on it, and I've turned it out 2 cranks, and now it actually sits in the push rod. That's not going to be perfectly aligned. I'm going to have to kind of guide it. Damn it. Oh. Oh, there we go. So it touched. I'm going to go 1/2 turn, top to bottom. Alright, Let's crank her around. One more time. Coming up on TDC here. Somewhere. That should be it. They should both be loose now. Now that's much more like it. Looks like they're right in the middle. You see what I mean? The mark on focus is now right in the middle of the valve. Okay. I'm going to try that with the make sure that stayed in the same spot. It did. It didn't turn. But I'm going to put this rocker and push rod back together even though I'm not using it. I mean, it would probably run just fine forever. I never checked this run out. I just don't want to mix up the components. Okay, I want to use everything exactly the same. So I'm going to pull the push rod out. We're going to recolor the top of it. Let that dry a few seconds. Clean off the roller tip. I'm going to put my... I turn this out 2 turns. That's what everybody seems to be doing. I put some RTV on the threads so that it would have some resistance to just spinning freely. So it would kind of make it stick. Okay, it just touched. Half a turn. I don't know why the exhaust was so much heavier. Maybe the exhaust spring is heavier? I don't know. Alright, so here we go again. I'm going to get this out of the way. And I'm watching that first valve now. We want that to go up and down twice. Exhaust, intake, compression, exhaust, fire, intake, and then back. TDC here somewhere. But that's good, they're both loose. Oh, that one's already in the, that's passed. Where's my marks? Hard to see the marks. There they are. Alright. I should realize. Yes, that's what I need. So now I need to go measure this rod that everybody says you add about 100 thousandths. Let's go see if that's a standard length I can order. Alright, update on the push rods. I did measure that and I was able to find by turning this that I got it two turns farther, which is 100 thousandths. That put it right in the beautiful center of the mark. Now, I was not able to find 6.950 or 6.925s. I was able to find 6.90s. So I ordered 6.90s because the other ones are all custom order. And I think that one will put it in a lot better position anyway. So they're just slightly off center anyway, so any improvement is a good improvement, right? So I'm going to set these back in here just so I keep them handy. But of course, when the push rods come, I will reinstall them, and I may or may not show the adjustments again. You saw that in the early videos of assembling this on how to do it. All you do is put them on top dead center for that particular piston, which your timing mark is top dead center for cylinder 1, which is this one, which means the valves are all down on the flats, and the lifters, and you tighten these down till they touch. You can feel it starting to compress them. So then you just give them a half turn. Touching, half a turn. I mean, that's all there is to it. So we're going to cover this up, put this away, and I'm going to start working on cleaning out the engine bay, because that needs to be done and repainted. And I need to take, as soon as these push rods are in, see, the reason I can't take the engine and made it up to the transmission yet, to measure the spacers I need for my hydraulic throwout bearing clutch, is I got to get my push rods in first. Just be easier to do it on the stand. So they're coming Monday. Monday I'll do that. Next week I'll get the trans and that measured. I'll get it bolted on. Once it's bolted on and the engine bay is cleaned out, we can drop the engine back in. And then I'm going to have to hook up different things. I bought a new stainless steel 3/8 fuel line to run from the fuel tank, in case I ever go with fuel injection, which that might come in my future, I'm not sure. And I got to clean all this corrosion out and repaint. The damn batteries with the battery acid, they rot a lot of stuff. And so this might just need to be cleaned. I mean, I don't know that I really need to repaint it. If I just pressure wash it out, clean the grease out, it might be just fine. And I can just touch up some of the areas with the spray paint. Alright, she's looking good. I got to figure out where I can mount my, I've got a hydraulic dampener shock absorber thingy for the steering. With the big tires and wheels on the front, she's a little squirrely sometimes. So I've got this very small hydraulic dampener, and it's got 2 clamps on it. And if I can find some place to attach this, I will. And it's got to go to the frame somewhere, and it's got to go to the chassis somewhere, got a hook to the frame, and it's got a hook to the tie rods. Or the, I don't even know what you call it. You got your idler arm over there. There's a long bar that comes across the middle that both tie rods attach to. So I want to connect it somewhere there in the center. I just got to make sure that I've got room for the engine. I think I can. I think I can weld something onto the bottom of the, underneath the cross member and the engine mounts in here. But that's to worry about. I will have a car lift soon. My car lift is going to be going in the end of August. In my new bay. The new bay and the new barn workshop, I'm doubling my space. Yes, I'm doubling my space with a 12.5 foot high ceiling. And another 24 by 32 floor space. 16 foot by 8 garage door. It's going to be a blast, guys. I'm excited. Well, let's get this motor out of the way. And we'll push that Mustang out here so I can hose out the bay. There you go. I've got it sprayed down with degreaser. Got my little pressure washer going. All right. Alright, so we're going to let this dry, and I'm going to spray it down again. And we'll look for grease spots that need more cleaning, that's all. Started to dry up pretty good now. The degreaser took the grease off, but it still has like this fogginess on it that I can't paint over. So I'm going to go through it, the whole damn thing, with a rag and a brush. I'm going to brush everything clean as I can, rag it, and then we'll paint it. We'll power wash it one more time and let it dry, and then we'll get it painted again. And then we're ready to drop the engine in as soon as Monday comes and I put the push rods in it. You don't need to see me clean this whole thing. I'm sure this would be too boring. I'll show you me hosing it out. Okay, so I've been inside and brushed down everything I could find and see. Alright, well, I just spilled a whole bunch of antifreeze out of the heater hose down my leg and into my shoe. That was fun. That was a whole ball of fun. Now, I'm just going to obviously paint stuff up here because that's all you can see when the engine is in there. I don't care what you see underneath the engine. So I'm going to be painting the sides and the whatever. I'm not going to do the suspension stuff down there. All right, friends and fans of Bob's Barn Workshop, here we are back in the barn today. It's a little cluttered because I've been working on a lot of other stuff. You'll see these videos later. But we're back on the Mustang engine again, the 347 stroker. Remember the last time we were measuring push rods and determined we needed them 175 thousandths longer, whatever. So these have the standard in there because I just left them in there to hold their place. My new set of TrickFlow 6.90 inch push rods have arrived today. They need to be flushed and washed to make sure they have no machining debris in them. And then we can install them in the engine. Alright, let's see what we got here. They're all packaged together. Now these are TrickFlows. Yes, they are. I'm going to put the clean ones over here. I just want to wash the grease out first, and then I'll am I a little low? I just had to get it primed. There we go. It's right on the verge of being too little, I guess. There's dead June bug in there. But all the debris from cleaning out the other stuff that seems to have settled out of the fluid anyway. Okay, well that was my contractor here working on Bob's new barn workshop. So we're just loosening these set screws up. Okay, a full turn here. And we'll start changing these push rods because I just didn't want to switch back and forth between my socket wrenches, between the torque wrench and this bit. So that's my plan. Boy, that one's worn out or wallered out a little bit. Maybe I'll put a little blue on him. A little blue Loctite. Alright, so those are loose. Well, we all know the drill on this, right? I got to get my 5/8 wrench. Because that should be these, which are air. Alright. So do you remember the process? Take off the retaining lock nuts. Make sure your set screws are backed out far enough. I'm going to get some assembly lube here. I see it. One of the few things I knew where it was. Carefully set these aside. Now, the top of this engine is immaculately clean, so I'm not worried about that. These old push rods, I'm just going to put them out, set them aside here somewhere. Alright. I need 2 new push rods. And we're gonna, you didn't see me out in the driveway, but I blew these all out with brake cleaner. Put an assembly lube on the bottom. And on the tip. Maybe a little in the cup. Alright. It's like snap. We know this is at top dead center. I've already found it. So you find out top dead center for the cylinder that you are on. Oop. And I can see that I haven't touched the rocker yet. But now I'm touching the rocker arm. I've got friction on it. So I'm just going to give this half a turn. Now these are self-adjusting, so this isn't critical. I've seen guys do a quarter turn. I've seen guys do same thing with this guy. Put a little lube in the cup. Make sure the rounded part of the bearing is down and the flat part is up. Oops. Don't drop that down there, dude. That would be bad. I'd have to take the damn head off. Make sure your set screws are backed out. Not going to hit. Okay, it's touching. I can spin the rod. And now I can't. So I'm going to give it a half a turn. And these two are set. And that's it. You do that to every cylinder, but you have to put each cylinder on top dead center. And you have to watch the valves come up and down. And when they both go down and you hit top dead center, then you're good to go. Okay, so I got this set for 20. I believe that's the size I want, the tension I want. I'm just going to turn it down by hand until it touches. Now I've seen guys do this without even knowing what top dead center is, just moving around till the valves are loose and then tightening them up. Alright, 20 foot-pounds on those set screws. I'm going to do this to every cylinder. Alright. So all the new push rods are in. The valves are all adjusted. And now I'm waiting for a part for the transmission. The next step is to take the engine off from the stand so that I can work on the clearancing of the transmission bell housing and the clutch and all that's got to go on, the flywheel and all that, which will not go on while this is on the stand. So you can see I've got my big 7/16 bolts all ready for the lift. So we can hoist this up, put the backing plate, the flywheel, and the clutch assembly on. We'll show you how to do that in the next episode. And then I have to measure from the input shaft inside the trans here. That's coming off, and that arm that you see in there. It'll be just a bare shaft. And then there's going to be a spacer and one of those donut bushing type throw-up bearings that will actually work the clutch without any cables. It's hydraulic and it just grows in length basically. It's perfect way. And then there's just a hose up to your master cylinder on your clutch pedal. So that's easy enough. And we will see you next time. Okay, take care. God bless.